Okay, mark 5 o'clock. We will stand for the flag sweeping. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. No, thank you. So, roll call. Everybody's here today. Thank you for coming. Please have a motion to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Is some current waiting for discussion.
Oh, sorry, discussion.
Is the I just have the agenda from what was sent to me. Is the new agenda here with the switch up?
No, that was the last one.
So mention.
We're gonna flip-flop and go with Mr. Olson first with 5th grade student, and then Ms. Walter with 1st grade students. She is not for them right now.
Mr. Olson, Miss Goddard is here. Or Mr. Olson.
Oh, okay.
She's coaching basketball. She would want you to know that that's what she's in. She's awesome. Being told off.
You chief who is going to stop. Well, I move that we accept the motion as amended, and then that would be a friendly amendment to Tom.
So may I ask for the motion to be amended?
Yeah, I'm moving
Okay.
that we
Something that's expected.
second. Well, no, Tom would accept it as a friendly amendment. So, and if there's an objection, then we would vote on the amendment. But if there's not an objection, now we're voting on the actual motion as amended.
And so not to be completely confused. Somehow I got lost in the front end of all of this.
Just go with it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'll do it again. I move that we accept the motion as amended.
Objection. Then move on.
Move to vote.
Vote. All vote. In favor?
Aye. So.
Welcome to the visitor. We've got the 1st grade Bodie. Is Bodie here? Hi, Bodie. And then we've got Madison O'Connell. Welcome, guys. We'll recognize you a little bit later. Okay. Madison. Ms. Goddard, go ahead.
Andrea,
Yeah.
do you want to go ahead and stand over there so I can thank you so much?
All right. I'm here for Mr. Olson because he can't be here. You want to come up so you can hear him? Yes, please. I had the privilege of having Madison in my class last year, so I just went over this and I agree with everything from last year. Mr. Olson said Madison has consistently demonstrated the qualities of an exemplary 5th grade student and serves as a true role model for her peers. She is empathetic, kind, and always willing to help others, while also challenging herself academically and personally each day. I, Mr. Olson, selected Madison for this acknowledgement because she truly exemplifies what it means to be a great navigator, showing perseverance, integrity, and a positive mindset. Madison shows remarkable courage by being open and vulnerable, sharing personal challenges with the class in a way that fosters trust and reminds her peers that they are not alone. The growth she has demonstrated throughout this school year has been extraordinary, both academically and socially. I'm incredibly proud of her progress and look forward to seeing her continue to thrive and succeed for the remainder of the year. Congratulations.
Can we get the family to come up and get a picture? Come on. Yes.
Dad's up here, so it's this bigger picture.
Is this okay? I'm right here. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Perfect.
Awesome. And we want one more with the board.
Yes.
The board like to be around future things. Come on.
Yeah. Right in front.
Go right over here. Come on over here. We'll get her.
Perfect.
Oh, you're doing-
You can always move too, Kim, if you were.
The question is, does she want a picture?
I usually move around quite a bit to get photos. Yep.
Just a second. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And another one. Just in case. 1, 2.
Eyes closed.
1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Knowledge
What's the
and.
teacher's name they presented?
Thank you.
Mr. Wilson.
The one that.
Oh, sorry, Andrea. She's our 4th grade.
All right, so one of the things I need to just point out, I'm squeezing in. Protocol, but I need to introduce Kimberly, who we've been fortunate enough to bring on board. We had Sherry here for a long time and she's retiring. And we've been blessed with Kimberly to come on. She's full of energy. She has dad jokes for me and it's highly confident. So thank you for joining our staff and we wanted you guys. Do you have anything
Thank
you
you.
wish to say about or any questions you guys have?
Did you come from another school district?
I did, as a matter of fact, Peninsula School District.
Do you live?
I have 2 residents, one in Shelton and one off the Key Peninsula. So this is perfect.
Yeah.
Likewise. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll be time. Okay, yeah, don't want to squeeze too much into the agenda. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out is that it's board appreciation. And we put a couple candies there and a little notebook for you to use for whichever you might want to. The gator on there. I just want to say thank you. A great school starts at the top, at the leadership. And we are a great school all the way through the system and it starts right here and your dedication and the time that you put into making working together and working with me it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I'm stop.
And now our next.
Walter, I teach first grade.
Okay.
It's nice to meet you. And we had 30 slides. That's the last one.
I'm sorry. Well, shoot.
Yes.
Okay.
I love 30. Okay, so first grade is awesome because I will send you a copy of this today. And first grade is amazing because it's such a year of them getting to be big kids. And Bodie is an amazing kid, and I'm really excited to recognize him.
Okay.
Mhm.
Could you go over there?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm thrilled to have made Bodie for Student of the Month. He is an extraordinary first grader who truly exemplifies the best qualities we hope to see in our students and our kids. First and foremost, Bodie is a constant source of joy in our classroom. His happiness is contagious, and he consistently shows kindness and thoughtfulness to everyone around him. Bodie's emotional intelligence is remarkably advanced for his age. He's able to clearly express his thoughts, feelings, and needs with confidence and maturity that we don't normally see in a 6-year-old. I'm just continuously impressed by his self-awareness, insight, and willingness to challenge himself as a learner and a person. He's just a shining example of what it means to be kind and considerate and motivated, and he actually motivates a lot of his students in his class to continue doing what they're supposed to. Next one. He also brings his special interest into class, especially the Titanic and traps. And he does it in such a meaningful way. He will get up in front of the whole class and teach, which is really cool. He takes what he is passionate about and then shares his curiosity and takes it as an opportunity for sharing and learning. It takes tremendous courage to stand up in front of your class and speak about things he loves. And he does it with such a level of confidence and enthusiasm because he genuinely wants to share his knowledge with the other kids. So his excitement just inspires the peers and helps create a really cool classroom environment where like the curiosities and individuals are celebrated. And his smile just lights up the whole room. It's amazing. And Bodhi, we're just so proud of you. Thank you for being a part of our class and being part of Grapeview. Okay, Pastor, we making pancakes and Halloween. It's awesome.
You want some pictures with you?
He's going for well. He's doing great.
Parents, do you want to be in?
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll get a
Yeah.
couple of photos for you.
Yeah. Okay, deal. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. You gotta share it. Everybody know.
Let's stretch out just a bit more. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Okay, perfect.
Okay, now one more. More.
Oh, yeah.
Right here.
Back so you can tell them. So my favorite time that the people say goodbye and most people die in the drop.
Yep. That's true.
And bring them some, give them some.
Love it. Good job. Cheese. 1, 2, 3. And another one. 1, 2, 3. Great.
No.
You should know that one.
What do you think?
He's just
Your eyes do not mean the same.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Congratulations. Good job.
January 30th, 1:30 character strong assembly. February 16th through the 18th, no school, midwinter break. Whoop, whoop. Friday 18th, no school, staff professional development day. February 25th, next board meeting. Can I please have a motion for the consent agenda? In a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to especially point out the donations that were received from the GCA and Louise Oakneck. Those are very, very generous.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
And, yeah, and when we received those donations, some you send a thank you letter or card or something. Yeah, that's good. We were looking after Louise for less at the Beauty and the Beast concert. Debbie told her and she was really taken with it.
Is that that?
Yes. Yeah. And so anyway, anytime somebody donates to the school, that's hard-earned money. So
So it's
I have a question. Was this accidental?
Could we count school district?
Oh, that's.
Are we waiting?
Yeah, we have time.
Yeah.
Oh, so we don't do that right here?
Yeah, it's
A good question too.
Okay,
So
okay,
keep that in your pocket.
Her report will be.
okay, no worries.
Yeah, the donations are great. Thank you so much. And then Kimberly, again, thanks for adding 15. Should we move on? Principal and superintendent report. Wait, sorry. Can we please have a vote? To approve the consent agenda?
Aye. I guess even at Kim's. Peninsula's lots is our game.
That's right.
Throw the confetti.
Right.
So now we can move on. Um, okay. Now we'll move on to principal and superintendent reports. Jerry, please.
All right, so, let's see on my list. First off, we have a Character Strong Assembly coming up, and I wanted you to be aware that I invited this, on the cover of the Mason County Journal was this, nice woman, Vicky Voss, and her son, who has, Lou Gehrig's disease, wrote a book, and, and as I was looking through the paper, it struck me because our word that we're working on, Character Strong, is perseverance. And in the headline here in the paper, she said, "I hope this book helps people understand the importance of perseverance," as she helps her son through the process of dealing with Lou Gehrig's disease. And so she's going to agree to come and say a few words about the book and her son and the concept of the importance of perseverance in life. So I was excited to bring her in, and it seems such a fitting and timely article in the paper to match exactly with the character that we're working on. It was just perseverance. We had an audit from the Department of Retirement Services, and we had feedback today, and they found a few items that she described as tweaks that we needed to work on. There were a few very part-time staff and coaches where a few things weren't reported right, that we fixed, and good to go. You will get a report from them, I believe, on that. So
Is that like procedural tweaks, kind of like the procedure wasn't quite catching the right way to.
yeah, it had to do with
Something.
the dates.
There was 2 years of how we reported retirement payments, hours worked, and hours paid. In some positions, for example, coaches, we reported that we didn't report their hours or vice versa. So some positions are eligible to report for retirement, which is aren't, but we still need to report that they worked for us. So it was things like that. There are also stipends that we pay for some positions for extra work. Like, for example, our paraeducators that have toileting duties, they get paid a little bit more per hour, but they're not working any more hours. And we reported their hours with that, the long hours they really work, and you can't report, you can't double hours because they have nails in the day. It was just little things like that we reported. It was essentially boxes inside where we run payroll were checked that we're supposed to be checked or unchecked that we're supposed to be. So it's not just it's not. And we had the exit interview with her this morning. She actually said that we had very few things that needed to be corrected and very common things that happen a lot in the district with our veteran system. So
You'll be getting an official notification from that, but we wanted to touch on that at a time. You may end up seeing my name in Seattle Times. I did an interview with them. OSDI gave them my name because of my advocacy for transitional kindergarten over the last number of years and continuing from out of school district. And she's encourage them to talk to me about the importance of it. So you might see that. I got a little bit, forthright and slightly political. So just so when you see that, if it comes up in the paper, you
So it's gonna be a pretty short.
forewarned.
Interview.
Oh, it's on my contract today. No, it's not that.
We talked to Jerry, and he said he's for transitional kindergarten.
They might not even come to it, we'll see, but we did spend about 30 minutes together.
Did you give him a photograph? One of your, Jerry?
Just so you know, as you'll be reporting on legislation, the Rural Ed Center is a very big champion of small schools. There's a lot of us small schools that are a part of that, and Jim Kolakowski is a former, recently retired small school superintendent, and he runs that. He also runs the WSU superintendent training program, and he is all over the legislature, and he's constantly watching them and reporting to all of us of what's going on and what would work and what would not work. And so I get those, and I filter those for how they would match with Grapeview, and often emailing and calling, or I was at the legislature last week to testify, so take that part of my job pretty important. E-rate, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's a federal program that is funding from everybody's cell phone service fees, right? Goes into a giant pot, and that money goes to part of the E-rate system that allows school districts to discounted, might be more than school districts, but at least school districts. I know you can get discounted internet and technology infrastructure, and so we're joining back up with that this year, and we submitted some of the infrastructure technology materials that we want to get to them. And when I did this previously at another school, it was significant savings off of the cost. You can't buy computers, but you can buy networking switches and Wi-Fi and infrastructure. So that's I just heard back from them today that the things that we had on our list were submitted for data in that regard. So that'll be I think it was last year we put together, Cindy and I put together a list of what kind of a year by year technology needs, and so this will be a great start and checking off some of the infrastructure things. There'll be other things that were on there like Chromebooks, et cetera, that we'll pick up later on, but that's in process, the E-rate process. To your question, Hood Canal, it caught my attention too when I was going through that this morning, that large bill for $14,000. So the state and their compassion passed a law some time ago, McKinney-Vento, to help support homeless students. There's a lot of good to that. It helps a lot of kids. One thing it does do, however, is cost a fair amount of money at times, because if a student is at a particular school, they become homeless, they find another place, they're on a couch somewhere, or in a camper on somebody's property, the state requires us to transport them back to their district they were at when they entered this homeless state. Yeah, so sometimes it can be quite a long ways. So that $14,000 bill you saw there was from Hood Canal School District for a student last year.
3 students.
3 students.
Okay.
Is it one family?
2 family.
Okay. For our portion of the McKinney-Vento cost of transporting them from Hood Canal School District.
Now, is that a daily cost? I mean, is that?
That's the total
for
cost
for
of
the
the
school year?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's our portion.
It's last year, not this year.
so in this case, they attended here, but they lived in the Hood Canal School District?
Opposite. We're in Grapeview.
and attended the canal. They started at the canal and moved to Grapeview, right?
No. Okay.
I'm confused.
Find out if
How come, how come they don't get like an opportunity to come here first?
So they, yeah, like the parent could enroll them or the guardian if they want to, but they're not required to. We figured that the student has something enough, yeah, let's keep something consistent at their school. So we actually have the exact opposite happening this year with two of our students.
So then we will collect a payment from another school.
so they weren't able to transport the children themselves. So it's, so the,
In this instance, the last year payment, the canal couldn't transport the students, so they paid a car service to transport the students back and forth, and the total cost for those students was double this amount. Each district pays 50% of the cost.
So, wow.
It can be quite expensive.
So like a taxi here. Or,
It's a car service and transport called the paddy wagon.
oh, sure.
what was that last name?
The name of the service that we're paying for is called the paddy wagon. That's something it does. Car and services.
And do we have the same cost occurring out Fishkill?
I don't know how many students, if any, we can now have a question to find out. I don't know how. Or if we have any insurance. We have two students in our district right now that have been Grapeview students that this year moved out of district in the same scenario. So we are paying that full cost right now, and we will bill the other district for half. So that'll be a payment that you'll see this summer.
But a payment to us, correct? Not us.
So we're paying the bill right now throughout the year. We're paying all of it. And then at the end of the year, what's going to the total cost of what it all will be, we'll bill that other district and they'll pay us. That's the same thing that the canal did to us.
Yes.
Right now, they billed us for last year's that we.
And I think 2 years ago, we had a similar situation with another district, so it seems to be every year.
I asked Jerry if, we could possibly look at purchasing a car or a van, I mean. That would be a little bit too expensive.
There's really no simple solution. Some districts might have a van, but you still have to transport them and pay somebody to do it, so. It's nice. It's really.
If you saw coming, did you see that payment coming?
You can't
You can't.
predict it, right? Somebody's house burns down and they move in with their cousin and, they're sleeping, their family's sleeping on the couch. You know, you do an assessment and do your best to.
So they just don't transfer districts.
They're not required to transfer. When we survey the families. And we get into their ask what their living situation is, so we try to find out and be proactive, that way they can offer them services and share resources that we have.
This is the first time I remember this conversation in my town report, but it's obviously been happening. Interesting. It was in the sense of mustard.
Any more comment?
I had one more.
Okay.
And then safety net, we've talked about that in the past. Last year, I think we had a good chunk of money that we were able to obtain from that for regarding special needs students. So how it works in Washington State is if you have a student with special needs, they have an IEP, a plan. And a lot of them can be serviced within the costs that we get from the state. Most of them. Right, but there are frequently students, I haven't said frequently, there are some students for whom their needs are significant enough that the costs are a lot, right? And that far exceed the amount the state gives us. And so the state has created a pool of money, safety net money that's a substantial portion of money. And that those districts that incur the costs that exceed the amount they're allotted, they can apply for that money to offset the costs that they have incurred for educating that student. So, and every scenario can be different in the years past, we had a student that we were not able to serve and we paid another school district to provide that service and then we paid them a significant amount of money, right? And so then we applied to the state and asked them if we can have that. It's quite an elaborate process. We have to submit the salaries of the teachers, the salaries of the parent, how many hours and minutes they spend with that student. And then the other costs associated with that individual could be speech and OT, PT, and if there's special transportation and it's quite elaborate. But the last 2 years, we got a good amount of money from the safety net, and that was a very helpful addition to our budget. This year, we have obviously some students that have some significant needs, and we've created some programs to support them, and we're going to do our best to apply for that money and see what we can get, right?
So this all goes, so right now we hired a special ed, and they're educated,
Yeah,
and we're no longer relying on the other school district for these kids, correct?
correct.
Okay. So this money would just augment that budget,
Yeah,
that cost for sure.
right.
Just wanted to,
Yes, exactly.
get to be clear.
Exactly. So, there's no guarantee that we'll get anything. We've been fortunate the last couple of years to be able to, create an application that got us some money. And I will work hard. We will work hard. It's a team effort to bring all those resources together and apply. So that we just started collecting information and going through the instructional stuff to make that happen. So I wanted you to be aware of that process.
And Sherry, when will we be in a spot to basically, I'm gonna say the word audit, but I don't mean to audit, but essentially compare the cost that we were spending versus what the cost that we are spending in-house now. Just, and because that was always out there, is that we believe, and we
Yeah.
trusted you,
Yeah.
that you believe that this was the right thing to do. And I'm not questioning, I just was curious about the.
How they compare.
They compare.
Probably wouldn't really know dollar for dollar how that cost compares until the end of the year. when we have some
I was
of
about to say we don't have enough.
Yeah. Again, that was my question, when.
Yeah.
So, and then when we won't even know till, I don't know, when to get safety net, because that's a piece of that formula as well. So it won't be till probably the summer that we fully understand the full ramifications of making changes that we did.
We should talk
Financially.
You talked about the positive aspects from one particular special needs boy, just having the constant.
Yeah.
Constant group of co-classmates, so.
Yeah, so I'm still pleased that we made that choice. I think it will pencil out money wise, but we'll find out. But that's the all I have for my reports.
Okay. Jenny? Okay. We'll start with student activities. Our seventh graders went to the Capitol during the legislative session. They had a great time. They had a special tour at the auditor's office, being with staff member whose husband works there, so it's pretty cool. There was also a fourth grade field trip to the symphony, which they did amazing. They really enjoyed it. Many kids have never experienced something like that, so it was pretty cool. And Miss Shannon said they did really well. They got to keep their recorder, so that was fun. Beauty and the Beast, we've kind of already talked about that, but those two performances collected $700 cash in donations. And then, of course, Miss Akonet's $250 check as well. That's a considerable amount of money. Yeah, the PTSO, someone came and sat at the table. Yeah. So that just shows you how much they value that. We have the Lunch with Loved Ones event. That's always fun. If you're around and want to eat with students, it's on Valentine's Day and they're making homemade pizza. I think some people are just coming for the pizza, but it's really good. And then another really cool thing, Tony, our maintenance man, Tony, he's leading a hands-on skill building informal course, but a group of students who have been begging to work with him on Mondays, you know how we do banner leadership skills for life. He is taking a group of students, mostly eighth graders, teaching them how to change the oil, the filter, and fixing things. So
Like our church.
exactly, yeah, how to like fix irrigation system.
So this is part of this now?
Yeah, Tony's always in that. Right, but these kids were so sad. They're like, we don't have Tony's crew. We want to do this, and so Mondays, he's taking that team.
Could we somehow get them trained and then monetize that? Like, you know, oil changes for the community only, you know, $40 or, you know, I hope, Chris Raffaello doesn't take that seriously.
And then Aaron's mentioned, you know, the Character Strong Assembly, it's student led. So if you want to experience joy, 1:40 on Friday. And then we do have a Mason County Commissioner coming to visit our Skills for Life class as a guest speaker. We're really trying to bring people in either digitally, we have really nice equipment to Zoom people in. We're trying to expose kids to careers. Of
Yeah.
all, it's, yep, and he's also, originally, he was coming for first grade. First grade social studies standards is all about community. So she invited someone that grew up in the community, but if you know anyone, you all have very vast skills and careers. So if
What
you know
day would that be?
people,
What do you mean?
any day, Monday, if you want to come in or you know people that have local businesses or oil.
What about hair?
Yes, we have so many kids interested in that. So we're trying to expose them to these things that keeps them motivated. Just that field trip to Yelm. We've reached, I know one kid who is already researching how to pay for his internship to become an electrician. And this was a kid who really struggled to find. He just felt like I'm gonna be here my whole life, you know, I'm not going to leave this property. So we're trying to bring people in to motivate the kids and show what's available, you know, outside of Mason County or in Mason County, but as a career. So let me know if you're interested in doing that or put it out to people.
What time on Monday is that?
Oh. One something, I will get back to you.
I just,
Yeah, afternoon.
okay.
Do you think the second graders might like to hear about adjusting net cash flow as it relates to EBITDA?
No, this is Mr. Martin, no, middle school.
In the school?
Our middle school kids. Well, that's, they would just be like,
What?
yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm like that too.
Parent score is going really, really, really well. Two-way communication. Teachers like it, the parents like it because it's all in one place and it's not just reading an email. You get, the parents get to, or families get to respond and have this conversation that's private and secure. So if someone comments on something, the whole world isn't seeing it on Facebook, right? Just the teachers seeing that, or just me. So it's been already amazing. And we have staff development coming on February 18th to train the teachers a little bit more. And we even used it to alert all the families instantly that the phone lines were out. So it's been great. Lastly, the second to last, curriculum update. We've narrowed it down to 2. I'm like 90% sure we're going with one of these. The team's excited and we're still nailing down the assessment suite to meet our unique Grapeview needs. So we're getting creative and doing what's right for us here, which differs a lot from like a bigger system. So we have that flexibility to get what we need here for our students to fill those gaps. Mid-year data is completed. I will present that at some point. Maybe next month, I don't know. But now we're moving on to highly capable referrals and testing. Our EL LIDA testing, which is language. Our English language learners, and then dyslexia screening. And on Valentine's Day, we're having the American Heart Association come in. We're doing their Kids Heart Challenge. We get a bunch of free PE equipment. Megan Pierce has led that. She has done all of the work for that. So it's pretty cool. Get kids healthy, jump roping. You guys remember that jump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the kids still have to pledge how many jump ropes they're gonna, or consecutive jumps they have to do?
There's a fundraiser component, I think, but it's not. They're just excited that kids are getting healthy and, you know, learning some tools to.
And also the equipment, that's fair.
Right? Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you.
Question. Cindy Wallet, Beauty and the Beast, which was fantastic. And I saw some of the actors in the audience today. I highly resisted going up and asking for their autograph. But it was brought to my attention that we have I hate to use the word flood, but we have a water infiltration problem in the back of the stage where the doors come up to the amphitheater. And it sounds like from conversations that night that it has been an ongoing issue that our maintenance team has, tried to fix and has worked on. This isn't really a board level thing. However, we did spend a lot of money to remodel this building, right? And when I was looking at it, I was thinking, why don't we hire a professional, because that is going to eventually cause problems if it hasn't already, right? So do you want to comment on that at all?
We did speak about that. The maintenance department, I did call Jerry, and so Jerry, do you want to speak?
Sure, I'll speak to that. It's kind of a peculiar little item that only leaks like 2 days a year. And you try to address it and then you take measures and then it doesn't have those conditions again for another 6 to 9 months. And
Okay,
and
so it's only like a couple days a year.
yeah, it's only in unique weather conditions.
Roof only leaks 2 days a year.
Only in unique situations where the weather's coming a certain way and it's really hard to track. So we've tried a number of different measures to solve it. And they work for a long time and then it happens again. So it is kind of annoying. It's not dangerous. It gets the concrete wet and
Carpet, right?
Yeah.
Have a carpet in there as well.
And he extracts it and it's safe, but we are definitely wanting to get that fixed and we're trying measures that don't try to multitude of measures that fall short of having to replace those.
Or is it the concrete settling and water's getting in that way?
We've looked at all kinds of things, so.
Well,
Yeah.
So the thing that I don't want to belabor the point, but the thing that it reminds me of, and intellectually it's not the same, but in North Mason, they really, really deferred maintenance on their school, right? At the same time, we've always maintained our school to a high standard, which is why we were use the existing school to do the modernization. Where they weren't, they had to tear everything down. Because everything leaked, and when I see things like that, I just feel that deferred maintenance and I know that we're trying, right? But I think for our school, we should be on top of that.
And I would say we are, and progressive to who are involved.
That's why I said intellectually. I know it's not the same, right? But that's, I don't know. You know, when when you have, you know, several teachers going, oh yeah, we had a flood and this, and I'm like, what? What? And I went back and looked at it, and you know, I mean, you know, nobody said, oh, well, it's only two days a year or whatever, but anyway, just it'd be nice to get it fixed if we can.
Agree.
Could we use capital?
Yes.
The capital account to do that?
Depending on what we had to do.
Right, that's, yeah, how it would be considered or whatever. Okay, all right, that's it for my question.
Operational fair.
Solid. Okay, so this is our budget status report, as of December last year. And the first slide that we'll get to, as always, is enrollment, and now the trend has been this year, it's wrapped up a little bit more. So right now, our difference to budget, we're over almost 19 students more than we budgeted for, which is a pretty good problem to have around here. And looking at January, you'll see a similar scenario next month as well.
Andrea, with that extra funding, are there limits placed on where you can use that extra money? Like-
Yes, and no, we'll talk, we will not talk, we'll just
Okay.
we're reading from. Okay, so this is a comparison to expenditures, so compared to what we budgeted this year, we received about $120,000 more than we thought we would at this point in the year. We've spent about $100,000 less than we thought we would at this point in the year.
Thank you for making the slides bigger.
I've been trying to make the biggest game down in the screen. The next page is just going to show you how we spent our money in which buckets. The first three lines are our salaries and benefits. And you can see the December numbers there. And then what we spent on supplies and purchase services. And looking at the bottom right-hand corner, that's what we're projecting our balance to be at the end of the year. And that's just a rough estimate as of December. It doesn't include spending money on the curriculum, so that's still a good chunk that we're going to be. But what this tells you, you've got a fairly large positive number in the bottom right-hand corner is what you want to see. All right, the next slide is our general fund balance. The minimum balance is there in the purple, the big bar in the middle. And then the blue is what's left, and reserve fund balance, the money that we can choose to spend it on other things throughout the year. If you look at that, the line graph in the bottom line in the bottom where it says the ending fund balances, that top peach colored line is this year, and it's a projection. But for the first time, that projection starts with a 9, which is a really big number. So you've seen that number grow throughout the year, and we will talk about that more like the next question.
So there's 834 and the slide before I thought it was 820 or something. I'm just.
The 834 is where we ended last year.
Okay,
So that number should stay the same on every month.
but I thought there was a slide before that showed it was a different number. That's 829, okay. Okay,
That's where we, well. So that was, 829 is an actual number at the end of December. That's how much money we had at the end of December.
and that's different than the 834. Even though it's small, it just.
Yeah, no, I'll show you. So the 834 was the ending fund balance at the end of last year. So is this the 834 that you're talking about?
Right, and then I think the 829.
The 829 is as of December. Oh,
829 is what our fund balance was last month.
Yeah.
834 is what it was last year.
Okay.
Weird that they're so close. Like, it's usually quite that.
Okay, just, I get confused.
That's okay. And they're really not usually that, that's very, very close. But we have a little extra money this year, as we've been saying, that's what this is showing us. So next slide is going to show you the other fund balances, our debt service.
saves up money throughout the year to make our two big debt payments on our bond. Capital projects fund, $140,000, that's what's remaining from the bond in 2015, so that just kind of sits there and waits for a need. ASB and then transportation vehicle fund. Barely similar to what you saw last month.
How much did ASP get for the fundraiser, do you know?
About $1,000. So it was a little bit less than it has been in the past, but
For the Mexican conversion?
yeah, but
Yeah,
$868.
almost
Yeah, it was
800.
Yeah. Thank you. Now will be the time for questions, right? Are you doing it?
I'm done with what I sent you guys earlier. Jerry and I wanted to do some talking points, so if you have questions on the presentation, you can ask them now, and then we're gonna go on to a couple more slides that I want to share.
So. On your enrollment slide.
Mhm.
I keep hearing these numbers like 239, 240. Will these then catch up then, in other words, the FTE slide, or the very opening slide, will we see that trending up then as the year goes on? I mean, I hear these words,
Mhm.
hear these things said that we're approaching max out in enrollment.
So 228 right now is our full enrollment.
So so what we get paid, the state pays us on our enrollment average throughout the year. So that 228 is our average so far for the year.
Not our total enrollment as of now.
Right now, our total enrollment for Hyde County kids is about 240 or 150.
So we're gonna see that average thing.
Assuming we don't lose any students, that will continue to go up.
Okay, yeah, assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like for January, we lost a couple students and we gained a few students. I think the net gain in January is maybe about +2.
I get these numbers that stick with me and so then.
Is there any classes that we're saying no to? Like,
If we got any second graders, you can, no, just, I was kind of full of you answer, because you would.
Say so many things. If there's room, we take them. But the reality is, in the only ones that we have room, TK, I think, has a spot. Fourth grade, eighth grade, sixth grade, that's it. So, and we are losing a few families due to moving, but they're awesome and they tell us ahead of time, and we have a new one starting tomorrow, so it happens. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We talked already, tonight about those top two bullet points, so I won't worry about those anymore. But the look ahead, as far as reviewing our district facility needs, this is something that Jerry and I and Cindy and Tammy and everybody really talked about throughout the year. But with the additional students we have and our not having a need to hire a lot of extra certificated staff, we are accumulating some extra money that we don't normally have. So we're doing some targeted discussions about what should we do with this money. We can't use it to hire people that will be ongoing forever costs because we don't have the money ongoing forever. But there are some things that we're talking about doing. So I have a couple extra slides to show you. It's not part of my official presentation. And if you want them, I can send them to you. It's really designed just to be talking points to share with you from the beginning conversations. So it should be the next slide with me. So this is a big number slide. Don't worry about remembering too much of this. But what I did for you is share with you a few of the different categories in our apportionment that's based on our enrollment. So the state gives us money based on the number of students we have. In December, the numbers were what's shown up there. In January is the first month of the year that the state takes our real enrollment numbers, and they take the average over the year so far through January. And from January till the end of the year, they pay us on our true enrollment numbers. From September to December, they pay us based on budget, what we told them we thought we would have. So you'll see the numbers go up from December to January, and we're looking at an increase in apportionment revenue from the state of almost $300,000, which is a great problem to have. So you get to decide what to do with this. So I just wanted to show you the different categories that it shows up in our regular basic education apportionment, special education, state funded TK transition to kindergarten, another special education category. lab, highly capable, and then the transportation. So all of those numbers there. This is like kind of an estimate at this point, how much more we'll receive. And then if you go on to the next slide, this is some of what the admin team and others in the district have been brainstorming. These are our priorities. This is what we might choose to spend this money on. I'll let you read through them unless I've made it too small and I can read them out loud, but you can probably read just as fast as I can speak.
I don't see savings reserve on that. Now, I would add that to this.
The automated doors. I was here for one morning and those doors are right here. Can we automate those so that it senses a person that they open up?
Which
Well, this door's like a security thing,
ADA.
but yeah, but
It's easy. So we kind of had that addressed on there, really, in different words. There's an ADA compliance category, so we are required to have doors be accessible for people to open. And then the other one, I forget where I put it on the list. Second to the last on the left hand side, camera and security system. Yeah. We do know that there's a need for some improvements there. We can't have the doors open when someone walks up because we have to know who's coming.
no, it's like, you know, when you hit a grocery store, you know, you can disable those and they stay locked. But during class time or recess time, you know, rather than the students opening the doors or slamming out the doors and hitting another student, the doors just open up. I don't know by sensor.
What are we talking about?
So when you say enhancements to fine arts and physical ed, what's that mean? What are you looking at?
Well, for the flooding stage issue,
Okay,
that might be an enhancement to our stage to make it less flooding and more dry.
what about fine arts?
That fire signal stage, so
Okay.
that area of our building,
I didn't see music on here.
that's in fine arts as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that's why.
So it might be buying more music equipment.
No, it's just a question. I didn't know if it's on the radar. Mostly is what I was asking.
And this is really just designed to get us to start talking those
Okay.
discussions, to put them on the radar. So if you guys will have anything to add to their questions, just the start of the conversation.
And Jerry, you mentioned in yours, the technology needs, there must be, what is the major need technology? The thing is at the top of your list that you had the money to replace.
We've really addressed a lot of them with the one screens and we have a couple more to get. The one that it's interesting, it's hard to buy ahead of time, which is the continual need for Chromebooks. Because you can only buy them so far ahead because they become outdated for software and security reasons. So we have about 150 over the next 5 years. We need about 200 new Chromebooks. But I can't just buy them all right now because then we end up with a gap in a few years.
So you know, phase.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that we want to build in.
They're expired right now. We're coming up on the expiration, some.
When you say expired, is that because of software?
So they don't support it anymore.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the game.
Yeah.
It's the game.
Yeah, they get us
They got you.
Is it, okay, I know I've asked this before, but isn't there an alternative to being locked into, you know, that short cycle replacement, you know? I mean,
Laptops instead of Chromebooks, just that.
you're just spending it up front, right? You're front loading. Yeah.
Been there.
It's just kind of gross to me. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we've got some new servers. I have reached out to my science teacher to see if there's student teacher, see if there's something there. So the biggest technology costs and is so this state, which they like to do, pass the laws that they generally fund. So they passed the law called the Alyssa's Law, which requires districts to create enhanced security and camera technology on facility that emergency buttons, et cetera. And so I tried to figure this out, and there was a grant, but we didn't get that. But there was the bid I got for just the cameras and the sensors and the thing, not even the was $135,000. And so that's something that we want to do. And we'll need to do eventually, but we might have to figure out how to try to phase that in or see if new grants come up. So that's an important one that will meet the letter of the law, but probably I'm gonna do what we have to do in the meantime while I watch for them to come through with resources to make it affordable.
So it's really easy to spend 300,000.
Yeah, it's very.
We can spend it
Yeah.
across the parking lot.
What's that?
Then we can spend it walking into the.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're doing fairly good when it comes to technology and we've created a phased-in plan for things. We're not desperate for things, but there are some things that there will be enhancements and some things that we can get ahead of this curve a little bit with these resources. I don't want to put it all into technology. I want to also split it with some other things.
Can you put the money into for staff, like, for instance, some of the desks, I don't know, do you have the ability to use stand-up desks or to purchase a stand-up desk for some of the admin staff?
The majority of our staff have them.
They already have them, so it's not an issue. Okay.
What about track and field? It'd be nice to host that at our school.
Yeah, we have applied for a health and wellness grant to create a gravel pathway around the field. I know that a full-on track would be probably millions of dollars. And so we are looking at ways to step it up a little bit, but without, having to pass I'll let Peter read it.
I ran for 4 years on the senior shop at the Ford County Shelter, track and field facility there.
Yeah.
It was not totally.
Yeah, so we're in a good place. We have a good amount, we've been frugal and we're reaping the benefit of that. And we are going to be able to do some things to help our teachers and provide some things that will be around a while, right? Like fixing the doors and painting the middle school and Chromebooks that'll be around for a few years and stays those computers. So
Compliance piece, now there isn't other money able to covers that.
yeah, it's grant we didn't get. Yeah, they
Oh,
put out a few hundred, maybe $1 million or so around the state for that, and they put it that way. So we're technically compliant. When we built this building, it was within that time period and it is compliant, but there's some of the things that are wearing out, like the automatic doors out in the middle of school don't always work. They get kind of beat up, middle school kids.
Okay.
And there's this door was a question in terms of like we have a staff who has a scooter and it's kind of hard for her to get in and out here. So there's some things we want to do there. So we're in a very good place. And we're trying to prioritize these items for the future of our school.
Well, we're trying to getting prices of things and this is an ongoing. These are the picture.
Shopping.
Teachers demanding or voicing.
It's interesting. I talked to my science teacher and there's like, oh, what? Money? Oh, let me think about it.
I got one other question. Can I have a question on this? WASDA. What's the WASDA bill?
It's a once a year bill that we pay to to be a member of WASDA, our board policies that we have. They hire the lawyers, they're the team behind that. Most districts in the state are a partner, they resource us to get model policies. I'm sure they do.
So it's a mandatory.
Yeah.
Well,
You don't have to, but it's pretty smart to do it. So WASDA is the School Board Association. And so they we are a member of them and they give us guidance and information. They will pre-write policies for us that we will review and make changes as needed, but they have their lawyers go through and make sure that they do the updated policy recommendations for us.
So this saves us work.
This saves us a lot of work.
Okay.
And a lot of money, because to have a lawyer do that our own would be outrageously expensive.
I had two other questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Wilcox and Flagel,
you'll,
fuel, and then VMO Financial.
the bank of Montreal, the purchasing part, the bank of.
Okay. Most of the others I figure out and it's pretty straightforward. So, okay.
There was one typo in here, and this is not really a typo in the sense that it's spelled out, but we used the wrong heading on two different payments. There's a payment that's about $5,000 or $6,000 that has an accurate description of, I'm sorry, an inaccurate description of garbage and recycling, and it's really our power bill. There's another description that has garbage and recycling, that's a couple $100, and that's the right amount for garbage. But on the line that says garbage and has thousands of dollars. That's a human error, I just like to remind you every now and then.
Was this a test for the board to see if we put that up?
Yeah. I know, right? It's not inside of the report, it's just not anything that needs to be recorded, I don't think.
My sorry, previous conversation.
Yeah, it is. You can decide to.
Yeah, it's related to previous conversation we had with transport.
Oh, okay.
So then we're double paying.
That's
No.
the difference.
No, so. Just as a kind of a point of procedure, right? I think this conversation is good, but during the discussion portion of the consent agenda is when we bring questions about the voucher approvals and the expenses.
But that's what I asked. Right?
Yeah, you did.
I did bring.
I know you did, I know.
And it's hard.
Yeah, but that's when it was supposed to,
Approve the agenda is one of the questions.
not the agenda, the
Consent agenda, we should ask these questions.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you have it right.
I thought so, but
Yeah.
I'm.
But, you know, it just, and I think it, yeah, I think it's fine that we're asking, if there's more, everything more, that would be the thing, the talking about, but carry on. What are the questions?
I had it in my announcement, so.
Shall we move on? So we'll move on to new business and our action items. The superintendent mid-year evaluation. We need to vote on that.
Says action.
It's okay.
So yes. Can I have a motion to approve the new business and our action items?
I move that we approve the superintendent's
Sorry.
mid-year evaluation. Is it?
So can I look
Sure.
can I look for a motion for the superintendent mid-year evaluation?
So moved. Second.
Thank you.
Discussion. So we're actioning that, yeah, we have an executive session at the end. We could do it.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that till, as I said, the right meeting.
Yeah, I'm certain what action we would have on that at this point down here is when we discuss that you already received input, right, and submitted it to me. Correct. Yeah, and it's a mid-year, and so then what we would do is at the end of the year,
The measure evaluation.
Yeah. So, this might be. And then,
Have we done, I mean, yeah, okay, and so this would really be, either a discussion or a correction that comes, right?
correct.
So you take a vote and then
So
we just don't, yeah, we just don't,
will
we
be
don't.
correct saying.
you wouldn't vote for it because there is a motion. Well, you would vote against it to drop it since the motion's out there, right?
I don't have questions about motion, so do I ask to not pass it?
Nope.
Just say.
I mean,
vote-
we've discussed it, or the other way is I could say, I motion. I propose that we table this motion. And then that'd be a friendly amendment, blah, 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 if nobody objects, then you vote.
To table the superintendent mid-year evaluation to another date,
To a date to be determined.
to a date to be determined.
And then who was the one that?
Okay.
Okay, so Les, is that acceptable to you?
Accept that motion.
Okay, and then is there any objection? And then we vote. So aye. And then it gets tabled. If you vote for it. If you vote against it, then that
So and I vote,
tabling fails, right?
and I vote then, it's then bring
To a date to be determined, right? I know it's.
Whatever that day, whatever, I was just gonna give it a different.
Yeah.
Discussion. So I'd have to go back.
It's interesting, Robert's rules was designed to govern church bodies. Do you know that?
I don't know them.
Because, us good Christians, we get those spices and.
All right, let's move on down to the legislative update, Tom.
All right, you guys all got a copy of the document that I'm prepared, the bulk of which came off of the WASDA website. And I want to clarify the role that WASDA plays. Laws get passed in the legislature. And the laws that pertain to education then are transferred to the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction. I don't know if WASDA has a contract with the Superintendent of Public Instruction or not, but what I do know is that every law that comes through the OSPI goes to WASDA and gets converted into policies for all the school districts in the state. So WASDA is the captive audience in this pipeline from the state legislature to the Office Superintendent of Public Instructions, and then to WASDA, and then WASDA makes the policies available to us as members. The tenor of the laws are supported by OSPI and are I'm going to say translated into policy for us to implement. If we don't abide by the policies that come to us through WASDA, which are directly related to the state legislature and business that they do, and the RCW, which is the book of all the laws for the state of Washington. That's where we can get in trouble. That's schools. And I want you to look at the very bottom of that page I gave you. OSPI has informed Prescott School District that the district will be dissolved
unless they can present a plan to erase their financial debt. Very, very small school district. Interestingly enough, you see the last part of that. There's just a senior 27 students. It's extremely rural. It's kind of between Waitsburg and Walla Walla and Starbucks.
Right, it was a neighboring school.
Yeah.
Notice the comment date, April 1.
So the nature of their. I hate to ask too many questions about it, but the nature of their debt is just like what revenues and so forth.
Yeah, they don't have a plan to be able to sustain operating the district and pay their debt. And they have not submitted to OSPI a plan to accomplish that.
Their interim superintendent, I've been in meetings with, they're trying to sell off assets and they're working on an interim short-term levy to fill that gap. And they're working very hard. Not sure they're gonna make it. It's not a failed levy, there's some, they have a levy, it's just the gap between, they're not maxed at their levy. So they're trying to get another levy to kind of supplement that. And they also, like school districts of old used to have, particularly in rural communities, have a house, a building, a home that they would have the superintendent and the previous superintendent, who I know, did live there. So they're trying to sell that and do everything they can to save their school district. It's very rural. There will be an impact. I don't know how much, it'd be a pretty good bus ride for those kids, a lot of them. But a lot of them already live out in the country, closer to some of those other schools, so, let's see what they can do. It's a lesson in making sure you're fiscally fluid and not waiting. You do it sooner rather than later.
I want you to look down where it says important dates to note. Remember we talked about last month that the legislative session was going to come in like the 10th or the 9th or something like that of January. They have a lot more bills than they're ever going to get through the legislature this year. And we as a school district will be fortunate if they're able to get to the bills that are important to us. So they're having hearings. They're trying to get things out of committees if possible. And one of the things that happens is bills die in committees. So there's a February 4th date. Policy committee has to have the policies or the bills done and out February 9th. And it just goes right through the list, February 17th, February 25th. Now look down at the bottom. March 12th is sine die, which means that's the end of the legislative session. And they will have passed what they're going to pass, and attached to what they're going to pass will be how they're going to pay for it. And they're going to give that to the governor. There's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and then. So remember when we talked about our top 10 priorities and we narrowed it down to the top 3? Okay, so the top 3 from us was quite consistently in alignment with what WASDA wanted to try and accomplish, what WASA, and what Jerry's going to help me get these organizations right. Because WASDA and WASA, which is the Superintendent's Association, and who is the third?
WASDA is the board, WASA there's superintendents, there's AWSP, which is principals.
Yeah. So MSOC was a big one. Funding for special ed, because they didn't give us what we had hoped to get last time. And just general, well, one of them was transportation and close behind that was. So let's look at some of these bills that are being addressed down there right now. Look at HB 2636, requiring reviews of the performance, operations, and funding of the state's public education system. That one's on the hot button list for WASA right now. Skip down to the bottom two, SB 5346, restricting mobile device usage by school students. 6125, providing enrollment stabilization funding. Those are in committees right now. And we're still early enough in the process. The people from WASDA have been testifying on some of the bills. Some of them they testify pro, some of them they testify con, some of them they testify other. We have the ability to go down and sit in the hearings or the meetings. We have the ability to testify if we get ourselves registered. We have the ability to testify by comment, going to each of those bills and telling people what we think, why we think what we think, why it's good, why it's not good. We have the we have the ability to just go on to any of the bills and basically just say, I'm pro that bill or I'm con that bill. I want that bill to move forward or I don't want to move forward. And my question to the five of us on the board, and Jerry referred earlier to his involvement. He's been active. And that's good. What do we want to do? Do we want to do anything? Do we want to pick out the bills that are most important to us and maybe make sit down with your keyboard and write a comment or an explanation of why you think it's good or it's not good? Or should we wait and see what gets passed?
We should wait and see. A lot of these are just,
And I just gave you a sample.
yeah,
There's hundreds and hundreds of bills that have been brought by different legislators. And the most important one is what's going to happen. I mentioned this last month, and I don't want to belabor it again. A whole bunch of legislation was passed last year with the intent that some of that legislation was going to generate significant revenue to offset the big shortfall that we had last year. And it has not worked. And I'm not going to try and explain why it hasn't worked, but the legislature is taxing the daylights out of anything and anybody that they possibly can, from businesses to you and I. And if because you don't get a bill from them directly, you will pay, whether it's the gas tax or the prices go up on services that you purchase, or the prices go up because they're taxing basically anything that generates revenue. So I'm going to send you guys, I tried to get it on this document tonight before I came up. I'm going to send you the legislative address where if you want, you can look at the bills. You can look at all the bills if you want. And WASDA will give us those bills that are educational directed. You can open them up, look at them, see what they're trying to accomplish. Draw a circle around SB 5918. Providing funding for school materials, supplies, and operating costs. That's one that we can certainly comment on. In fact, we can comment on it by selecting the option I'm pro that bill, and here's why I'm pro. And so things that we've talked about around this table or these meetings for the last several months, years. What we don't get from the state in terms of MSOC, we have to go with a levy to the people in our community and ask them to bail us out. Unfortunately, they do. Any thoughts, any questions?
We had one time talked about something that was, like you pointed out there, what was it, the MSOC number, I can't remember right off the top of my head, was it? Anyway, about the SB 5918, about the day that there would be a public comment period, something like the MSOC, that we would go in mass, or as many of us that go to the public comment period. Is there a clear vision of when that date might be?
So if senior die is March 12th, we have what? 6 weeks, 5 weeks at best. We can find out where the process of that bill is by entering it into the legislative computer site, putting in SB 5918.
Okay.
And I think it can alert you when the hearing is going to happen. You can sign up.
We sign up, email with us and go.
I don't know if you've done that before, but the chances of you getting to talk are pretty slim. So you sign up as con or a pro, and then you wait around and you hear, everybody that they want to talk to, and then the time gets cut off, but at least they have you registered, right? They know that, 1 million people were for it and 50 people were against it. And, so sometimes that might affect things. I see kind of, some larger threats, for us, and that is, the 32-hour work week, where you work 40 hours and you're getting eight hours of overtime, right? That's a threat to our school. The income tax, even though the governor says, it's for millionaires and those that don't pay their fair share, right? There's Democrat politicians that have been interviewed and have admitted that they want it to apply to everyone by 2030. So the more that our community, and we have a pretty large amount of people in our community that are on fixed income, where it's pension or savings, Social Security, the more their standard of living goes down, the less likely they are to vote for half of their taxes going here, right? So those are threats to us, I think. And I can tell you my personal situation. I am making $1,000 less a month now since those new taxes went in last year. And it has affected my family. I mean, that's $12,000 a year. And so, yeah, when Tom was saying, what do you want to do? I will move. I'm sick of rearranging the deck chairs. Speaking of the Titanic, right? So, so yeah, we should be commenting on some of this stuff. Does it make a difference? I think sometimes it can, you know, but it's not gonna make a difference if we don't.
Right. You being as politically astute as you are.
No, I'm politically biased.
But you were involved.
Yeah,
My observations are that our three legislators tend to line up with us and be pretty solid advocates
Oh,
for
yeah.
the things that we as a small rural school
yeah.
want to see. So
Yeah.
when I take a chance to reach out, I do message them. But I also, because I live in a different district, I also reach out to them because they are
My
the ones
Nancy Randall.
or less.
It's sad, isn't it?
I'm in Thurston County, so
Oh,
only
sure.
second district. So I also reach out to them.
Yeah,
So if you have connections in other ways on issues that are important, it might be worthwhile reaching it. Not to ignore our guys, but they already
well,
love us.
they're speaking to the choir, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if we do know other people and other connections that could have influence on these, that would be is very worthwhile.
yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks for the uplifting. Let's see, what's next? Let's show you.
Well, I want you to read that two sentence line between the bottom one and the March Sydney die.
Oh,
The
the
rental rights bill initiative.
5861, encouraging community representation in education. Are they renaming that?
No.
no.
A couple of years ago, there was an initiative to protect the parents' rights in the oversight of their children, which also include their children's education. And what kind of communications could take place between the parents and the school and the school and the parents. It passed. The voters voted for it. And so that was a summer and a half ago. When the legislature went into session last January, they took up that initiative and decided to retool it and improve it. And what they did in the process is they gutted it.
Yeah.
So the initiative people, the state of Washington said, well, we're not done yet. And they have gathered up several 100,000 signatures, and the parental rights initiative will be on the ballot this November. That's all I got.
Moving on to item 14, policy, first reading, policy review. Review policies 2170.
I mean, it's interesting when I read that, it pretty much what we do now when it comes to hiring people. I mean, then there wasn't much controversy that I could see in that first reading. Career technical education, right away, because that's in CT functions and be more, yeah. Oh, no, that's 5,000. I'm sorry, I'm 21.
So I revised some of the language reflecting little bit. And it is more accurate to what we do. If we don't have our own expert in the CT either.
You have a position to be in a place that offer fuel credit.
So this is a submission of a revised one.
I like it. We're doing stuff already, it's just like.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we show these fast.
Any questions?
I'm for it.
Okay.
I found it interesting, as a plan, to ensure academic rigor. Beginning with education and family status program performance target for the field adoption work is economy. It's really interesting, to have a conversation with a young man about trying to develop a career track. And what he would want to do versus what AI may not allow him to do. It was an interesting, that's inherent in there. Interesting. Yes.
Let's approve some policies.
Okay, so let's go. We're just gonna have to.
That's just the first reading.
Okay, so then we'll move on. Okay, thank
It'll
you.
be adopted.
Let's move on down to policy approval. 1005.
I move we approve policy 1005,
Thank you.
of directors.
Second.
Discussion?
I like the last bullet point in the first page. Looking as an effective and collaborative team. We do that.
More question?
Probably the one thing here is the self-assessment. Well, again, we haven't done this for years on there, it's been you did it with the horizon on the board, it's a very valuable thing on. So I'm not sure if when we did, when we had a schedule, it's I don't know what you do it outside or what. Special session.
I reached out to a lot of people today, that that's one question, and the board self-assessment survey that it exists, and what I asked her does this make sense to do it? And some more time in the fall when we've all been together a little bit longer with the board members, so that we have it all done and complete, and can review it at our retreat. And that's what I submitted to her and asked her what's the cost, and does that seem like a good plan? I haven't heard back yet.
Okay. And historically, that's what we did when we were doing it on a regular basis. We would review it every week.
Okay.
Or a retreat.
Yes, and if we call for a vote, please? All in favor?
I
Thank you. Okay, so I'm looking to approve policy 1010.
so moved.
Thank you.
Right.
Discussion,
We just did this.
the 2010.
Well,
Sorry.
we just did the annual organizational meeting, we voted you in and
Yes, good.
he voted less.
Okay, so let's.
You were the legislator.
The policy 5000, recruitment, selection and evaluation of staff.
And group that we approved policy 5,000 recruitment selection and evaluation of staff.
Second,
Okay.
discussion,
What we do now?
now to a vote. All in favor?
Those were super exciting.
Right. Now we're on to future agenda items. February board meeting. Our next board meeting is February 25th. And we will get the mid-year data presentations. They're in my favorites.
So I'm gonna have Cindy if she's had any of her standard previews thoughts.
Are you gonna give us a tea here? Yeah. In a world of education. No, staying second.
It was a big jump because just from hearing from my son, just a lot different and so I really hope that they get that hang of it this round and we see a huge jump in
need to pat them on their backs.
So one. I should just start at few. This test that we used to do that was like, what grade level are you? Okay, now moving to an assessment that is. Right, so it's like, we can't even compare the two because it's not. Testing the same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll explain it.
I've
Or
already-
take care. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I probably will not be here in person for an event. I'm going to be traveling. So I might be able to, Zoom in possibly, but as somebody did that, I can barely hear anything. So anyway, if I'm not here for that, can I get a copy of your presentation? Okay.
Let's move on to reflections and comments. I'm gonna start with.
So I was not, unfortunately not at the beauty beach, but my daughter came home and very pleased that she went, and then we saw she followed up with a check. So you really touched her. A suggestion is that you had two, and this is more burden on you folks, but you had two really good sessions the Friday night, and I understood the Saturday session, they were jam-packed. Would a special session directed at the Mason Benson organization, the GCA, as an invitation to help us, help you show the community that votes for our levy just how special this place is? Not that there may be, there's a lot of people that may not be aware that this is even going on.
More advertisement on the billboard.
This would be patting oneself on the back and hey, this is what we're doing. It's exceptional, above and beyond. We'd like you to be aware of how special like
Community production.
and it'd be like a
Special.
almost like a Sunday matinee or a Saturday, another Saturday matinee that would be specifically directed at those two groups of folks that are the lion's share of the waterfront property owners and the people that vote in favor of our 60% levy property.
I remember we did that with the PTA, we did a fundraiser where we held a murder mystery at the Mason Benson Club, but this would be with the kids, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be.
It's just a suggestion that, I mean, mom came home and just followed up. And of course, Wes talked about her exuberance when I wasn't there, but he was, and she was in his proximity. So just, I got to thinking.
Well, you know, my wife and your mom know each other and they were having a good time cackling.
You kept her check out. So that was just throwing that out there as gosh only knows what you'll come up with next year, but I'm sure it will be exceptions too. One of the things in this packet that I was fascinated about was this policy, legal news was the Mahmood versus Taylor, Supreme Court decision about declaring the rights to opt out of certain curricula. This, if I would encourage you to read by the board, it was fascinating. I was unaware of this until I saw it. So just to know what I'm saying. By the way, super job. Thanks. Nice job. When I went to the holiday presentation, and Mrs. Shannon, she's a remarkable person. Remarkable. Anyway, that's all I have.
Lance?
You know, just continuing to learn, so I don't really have anything other than that. Taking it all in, it was fun for me.
Wes?
As always, my favorite part of the board meeting is the student recognition. And I love the PowerPoint that was done and how proud the parents were. And I just think that's a really good thing that we do, and highlighting highlighting when things are good. right? Besides that, you're doing a great job, Adri.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I think,
If you want to have some exciting, make arrangements through Cindy to go in and sit with Ms. Walter and her first graders
When did you do that?
last year.
Oh.
Last year, now she's first grade.
the whole new.
We have a lot of obstacles in front of us. And it's good when you have an obstacle with a surplus that you guys figure out how to try and spend it wisely. We have a lot of talent. And we have a supportive community. And when I say we have a lot of talent, I'm talking about everybody that's involved in Grapeview School. And it makes the board's job, I don't know if it's easy, but it's much more simpler than the challenges that a whole bunch of other boards have. And I encourage you again to go to the Waterstock site and get the news sent to you and read what's going on in other districts and other places around the state. In other states too, yeah. And I'm glad to be part of this group.
Well, I must say, I got to go with the seventh graders to the Capitol. What an amazing group of kids. I had a wonderful time and they were very respectful and it was nice to see that side of the classroom. I also got to be in here in the morning and I love hearing the announcements. I love to hear the birthdays that get announced. That is so special and so sweet. No school does that, right? Like, that's so neat. And the energy of the kiddos in the morning is just, if you could bottle that, I would pay a little bit. Just the happiness that comes in the morning. And the play was amazing. I got to go to that, and how ingenious that they reused I don't know, what's the triangles that to change the sets.
Yeah, right.
That thing has paid for itself 10 times over, I think. That is so cool that we can repaint that and reuse it and utilize it. The casters. The casters. Really neat. And yeah, I'm happy that we're dealing with a positive budget and our children are blessed to just focus on coming here and worrying about an education and not worrying about doing a traffic levy or any of that. So, and thank you all teachers. I don't think they hear that enough. All right. Anything else? Barry?
Yeah, a couple items, was pointed out, and it hadn't had on the agenda and it didn't because there's somewhat out in the community already, but I wanted to make sure that the board knew, that we did have a student that was in a special program who did pass away at Christmas time. And they were connected with quite a few of our other students and terms of families and so on. So there was a bit of sadness. We did respond, the counselor and I changed my schedule to be here to make sure that we could have extra support and attention as needed. But I assumed you might know because you live in the community, but I wanted to make sure you did. Thank you for that reminder. The other thing is, our operating agreement is a very powerful tool that we review every year. And I just wanted you to know that we're working on adopting that at my other school district because it is a very worthwhile tool for us as a reminder of how we function as a priority. So we'll be using that up there because it works and it sets a precedent. And then the other thing is that there was some shall we say hiccups in the flow of our agenda that I apologize. So,
Yeah,
that's
I missed that.
that's my responsibility and sorry, so, that's what I.
Okay. Well, let's put it on there for 6:48 for being adjourned. Oh, am I missing something? Oh. I thought we weren't going in, we tabled it.
We tabled the action with the vote, and we still have the executive session. Or not.
We do. Absolutely.
Okay, I apologize. So then you want to take a 5-minute break and then go into executive session?
Just follow it through.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's just follow
Okay.
this.
Just boot everybody out.